Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2. This is the envelopes. This I've lined, they're fully lined with coordinating pattern paper, and I think I'm just going to get to it, show you how to make these beautiful envelopes. And so just to show you how snugly and nicely it fits into the envelope, it's just tucked in so, and I just used copier paper for the envelope because I'm backing it with cardstock, but I will be making a slightly thicker version for this video. For the envelopes, I highly recommend making a template first, and then you can cut out as many envelopes as you need. This is a 180 GSM card, and please ignore all the writing on here. I'm going to explain how to make it much more simpler than this, me just writing stuff on it. But there's a envelope. You can screenshot it if you like, but I think the measurements on here are quite confusing to look at. So I'll go through it properly in a minute. So you've got your envelope template, and then you've got your insert template as well. So I'll just leave that in case you want to screenshot. And yes, so I'm using Dovecraft paper pack 12 by 12, and it's 120 GSM, so it's thin but not too thin. However, the other envelopes I have used just printer paper, and because of the insert, it kind of makes it sturdy enough to make an envelope, but you run the risk of seeing the card insert through the other side. So again, I'm leaving that up to preference. If I have used the printer paper and they look fine, but for this I'm going to use the 120 GSM Dovecraft paper. I use this for lots of envelopes, and I'm thinking because of the green theme, I'm going to use the green on the inside of the envelope, and I'm going to the white will be on the outside. So I'm going to cut this at 8.5 by 8.5, but if you were using A4 paper, just keep the width of the A4 paper and then trim it down to 8.5. So here's the A4 paper, and the envelope will just sit just on the edge of that A4 paper, and you just trim it down to where you need to. So just trimming this down to 8.5. By 8.5. And then on one side, you're going to score 1 1/4. 1 1/4. On the other side, the same, 1 1/4. And you're going to turn that round, and on the top, you're going to score 2 and 2. And on the bottom, you're going to score 2.5. 1 2.5. And then we are going to fold over and just burnish that down. Like so. So 2.5 is on the bottom, 2 inches is on the top. Now we are going to remove this rectangle here and this rectangle here, we are going to remove this rectangle here and this rectangle here. Now, as I said, if you're making this as your template, you're going to want to do this on a bit of a thicker card, and then you don't need to do this process all the time. You can just draw around your template onto another piece of paper or clip it down on top of multiple sheets of paper using a bulldog clip or something like that, and then you can cut multiple envelopes at once. Just make your life easier rather than doing this process every time. But this is, if you enjoy sitting and being quiet and crafty, then you do you, boo. I do not pull that off. Apologies for that. So that's your envelope done. Sorry, that was that was really not cool. Okay, and then on your side flaps, they measure 4 inches, and what you're going to do is you're going to measure 2.5 inches up, and then we're just going to cut a diagonal line here, remove that, and the same on the other side. So it's 4 inches, 4 inches, and we're going to do 2.5 there, and just cut across there like so, and cut that off. Just like so. So the bottom flaps, the bottom and the top flaps both measure 6 inches. We are going to measure 1/2 inch in on each end. Half an inch, and just going to trim that down like so. We're going to add a little curve to it so that it looks nice. So just trim that down. On all 4 corners. And then you're just going to add just a little random curve on each end. There's no specific measurement for that unless you are really specific. And do the same on the other side. Oh, I am so shaky today. I'm not nervous. I'm getting used to you guys. Okay. So just curving that round. Curving that round. And there you have your finished envelope. So look, the template. So when you construct it, you are going to stick the bottom flap over the top of your side flaps. You're gonna have enough space to stick some double-sided tape on there, ready for the person to use the gift card set and send it off. And then we want to cut an insert just to make it look a bit more flash. So I've just got a piece of scrap here that I used for something else and decided not to use it. So what I'm going to do is trim this down just so it's straight for a minute. So I am going to measure this to, because this has already got a fold in it, I'm going to keep this for my score mark later. I'll just talk you through it. So this side I'm going to cut down to 4.5. Cut that top bit off because it's a bit. Okay, 4.5. So if you took a screenshot of my template, I'd written 4 5/8, but it's 4.5 is perfectly fine, and I've changed that to 5 3/4 rather than 5 5/8. Just easier. So yeah, so that's 4.5. Now we're going to trim this down to 5 3/4. And again, I'm just going to make sure it's straight on both ends, so 5 3/4. And then my score mark's already there, but you're gonna score at 2. I did 2.5 on my template, but this is 2 3/4. So again, up to you. Either way, it will sit nicely on the envelope. So that's the envelope. This is the part where we measure again across the top so that we get the nice curve and alignment. So it's going to be another 1/2 inch on each end. So where did I put my ruler? Here. So again, just lining that up with my ruler, and I'm going to mark 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here. Trim this part off, and again, if you make a template for this, you don't have to keep doing this each time. Cut those off, and then we're going to round off those corners. I don't think that showed up very well on the camera. So just trimming those corner pieces off, and then curving that round. Just like so. Then you're going to glue that in. If it isn't pleasing to your eye, you can always change that slightly. In fact, that will leave me some space to stick the double-sided tape on, and when it's closed up, it'll look like so. Yeah, so just gluing that down inside. Now, because this is the slightly thicker card, the thicker paper, you won't see the backing through that. You might do if you use the printer paper. So just be aware if you might want to not use a double-sided card, or you might want to stick another piece of white on top. That I'll leave that again up to your preference. This is your work, your craft, so do what makes you happy. I just show you what I do, and yeah, work from there. Making sure you glue right up to the edges, and a good layer of glue so that it sticks down nicely. Now, as you can see, because I altered the measurements, if you stick to the initial 5 3/8, then it would be more edging to that, but I don't mind that. I like that, so sticking to that. So once that's stuck in, wait for that to fully dry before you then construct your envelope, otherwise the envelope will stick to itself. Just going to give this a quick rub down, remove any excess glue, just make sure it's fully stuck down. So that's now fully dry, and it's just a case of lining up the edge of your side flap with the bottom flap and sticking some glue on the edge, just lining it up with the edge here and that line here. And just sticking that down. And just try and keep the envelope away from the inside while you're sticking it down, just to make sure that you can actually get your cards in there. And that is it. Envelopes done. And here I've made some more green ones for the card set. Now, just FYI, it will show through the darker the colour, so you may want to opt for thicker paper for making your envelopes, or make sure that the back of the insert colour kind of is a paler colour so it doesn't show through. But for me, I don't mind that at all. It just kind of adds to the fact that I've made these. So nice green inserts for the envelopes, and that's because I made the green cards too. I just couldn't help myself, so there we are. But also look, I've got some beautiful thick wrapping paper, and that's just made some very beautiful envelopes too. I'm not going to bother lining that. It's just it's nice and thick and a good quality envelope. So I'll just put some double-sided tape on the top there, and that would be ready for well, look at these, just beautiful. Any kind of gift card you like. Just beautiful. So again, just to show you, and because I made the envelope template, it makes things so much easier. And so there you go, selection of envelopes which I used the template for. So again, massively recommend making the template first, then you can make an array of envelopes for your needs and for your gift card box, which is part 3. So join me in part 3 for making this beautiful box, and I'll see you later.